Welcome everyone. My name's Sue Brack and I'm the Alfred Health Graduate Nurse Program Coordinator. So we just want to welcome you for joining us tonight for our webinar for the 2023 intake. So to start with, I'd like to acknowledge the Bunwurrung and Woiwurrung language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nation, who are the custodians of the land and waters where Alfred Health is situated, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of tonight's webinar. The goal of this is so that then the information that you receive through tonight's presentations and what we've put up on our website and any answers to the questions that you'll be posting on our Q&A platform, that hopefully then by the end of this that you've got a lot more information than where you are at the moment. So the structure for tonight is a series of short presentations. So I'm just going to introduce the early parts and then I'll cross over to Kathleen Fallon, who's our Chief Nursing Officer. Kathleen will then come back to me and I'll give you a lot more detailed information about the graduate program. And then we've also got a panel tonight which consists of two of our graduates, one of our clinical support nurses and one of our nurse managers. And the goal is so that the graduates can share their experience within the program and our clinical support nurse and manager will share their role in supporting graduates throughout the 12-month program. Whilst you're online, as I was just mentioning before, you can post your queries or questions on our Q&A platform. One of my colleagues is monitoring this in the background. He'll be able to answer short questions, but he'll actually bring in the frequently asked questions to me towards the end, and I'll answer those live on our webinar tonight. So to start with, I just have a short video that I'd like to show you.
When it's all fading away, I will be there for you. Just hold on, I'm on my way. Just hold on, I'm on my way. Just hold on. I'm on my way. Just hold on. I'm on my way. If the flowers start to bloom, if the rain's here for today, I will be there for you. When it's all pulling you down, when it's all fading away, I will be there for you.
So welcome back everyone. We hope you enjoyed that short video that just gives you a little bit of a glimpse into Alfred Health. Obviously everyone knows we're still in COVID times and we can't bring you in. So that will hopefully just have showcased a few of the areas, and you'll also see a few more things as we're sharing some of our presentations. So I'd just like to hand over now to Kathleen Fallon, our Chief Nursing Officer, who's actually going to share some information with you about nursing services here at Alfred Health. Thanks, Kathleen.
Thanks, Sue, and welcome everybody who's online. And I must say this is one of my favourite days of the year in that I get to talk to hopefully people who will choose Alfred Health for their graduate program. I really enjoy talking to the nurses of the future, and unfortunately we still can't do that in person, but hopefully we'll bring a little bit of Alfred to you tonight. So as Sue said, my name's Kathleen Fallon and I'm the Chief Nurse here at Alfred Health. Sorry about that, a small technical glitch. I'm going to talk to you tonight a little bit about how we shape nursing practice at the Alfred, and everything we do is underpinned by what we call our Patients Come First strategy. We have an Alfred Health strategic plan which takes us through a number of years, and one of the key documents that sits under our strategic plan is the Patients Come First strategy. And that is all about how we, together as a team with our interdisciplinary colleagues, shape and facilitate the patient experience at Alfred Health. The strategy provides us with a framework that it underpins really the essential elements of nursing practice to ensure our patients receive the best, safest quality care that they can. And you can see there on the screen the pillars of the Patients Come First strategy. And there's no surprises there that every element of nursing care is included in all of those pillars. We also measure our patient experience by these pillars and provide our teams with feedback on how patients have experienced the care they received under these headings. Patient-centred care, as I said, is a key feature to the Patients Come First strategy. And from a nursing perspective, we like to think about that around a framework, around how we plan, deliver and evaluate the care we provide. And it's grounded in mutual beneficial partnering with patients. When we talk about patient-centred care, we're really embedded and passionate about engaging with patients for what's important for the patient. It's no point us transitioning along a pathway of care and the patient's expecting a completely different outcome. So it's pivotal and key for us to engage with patients and determine what really they are looking for in their healthcare experience. And when you think about that from your own perspective, many of you will have had relatives, friends, or been in hospital yourself. And we'd like you to think about how would you like to be treated if you were in hospital? How would you like your family to be treated? And what nursing care would you like, or what level of care would you expect as a consumer of healthcare? That's the level of care that we strive to deliver here at Alfred Health. Seeing the person is critical to us really delivering on our Patients Come First strategy. The participation of patients in their own care really comes down to asking questions around decision making. And some of the really amazing outcomes of engaging patients in decision making include reducing the risk of a patient experiencing an adverse event, decreasing admission rates. It's nothing worse than a patient that we've cared for and got to a level of recovery, we discharge them out into the community, and because we haven't completed their care, they return to us and require further intervention. Engaging with patients improves their adherence to the treatment plans that we together develop for them that meet their needs as well as the needs we're trying to achieve. It reduces hospital-acquired infections. There's no surprise there if a patient's engaged in their care and understands what the elements of the care we're trying to deliver include, that it keeps them safer. Reduces their length of stay, and we all know being out of hospital is safer than being in hospital, and working together again keeps patients safe. And it improves patients' outcomes in the long run. There's no doubt when we work together, we work better, smarter, and we have better outcomes. How do then we bring all this together? So we have a Patients Come First strategy. but we really need our nurses at the bedside to be able to think about a framework for them to enable that strategy to come to life. And we've developed what we call our professional practice framework, which really outlines for nurses the expectations that we have on how we deliver care. As I said, a key part of our all our strategies are that the patients are in the centre and the reason for everything we do. So they're a critical part of our professional practice framework. Comprehensive care is a significant component of our professional practice framework. And when we talk about comprehensive care, we're talking about care that looks at all elements of the patient's needs, from hygiene and the fundamentals and foundations of care through to the more technical aspects of care. And how is that connected? How is that all contributing to the outcome for the patient at the end of their journey? And how do we include our interdisciplinary teams in that comprehensive care? So nursing being sort of the 24/7 critical element of care. We spend most time with patients or any other clinical group. So for us to be able to provide comprehensive care is critical for the patient's outcomes. Leadership, and we talk about leadership at all levels. So no matter who you are in the organisation, you play a key role in leadership. Escalating care, escalating concerns, contributing to how we continually improve, and speaking up and providing input into how we continually progress. We have strong leadership development programs here at Alfred Health, and we know that leadership is a lifelong journey. And we want to encourage all of our staff to be on that journey with us and to engage in the significant amount of education programs that we have available for staff, particularly around their leadership development. Professional development is also a key component of leadership, but extends to all the clinical aspects of professional development. There is a plethora of opportunities for nurses to take. You think you're finishing your undergraduate studies and your learning is about to end. I got to tell you, your learning is just about to begin. We have a mantra here at Alfred around lifelong learning, and professional development is a key element of that. There is always something new. There is always something developing, and we engage with our nurses to ensure that, one, you understand what's happening, you've got the critical skills to be able to deliver the care that you want to and that we want you to, but also that you've got opportunity to expand your horizons. Research and informatics. We can talk about professional development and expanding your horizons, but if we're not progressing how nursing is delivered and answering some critical nursing questions, then we're failing in our contribution to the profession over time. Answering nursing questions is something that we are really invested in Alfred Health. And as we emerge from the pandemic, we need to pick back up that aspirational aspect of nursing care and really start to ask the questions of why have we always done this, and is this the best way to do things, and really showcase all of the work that our nurses do on a daily basis. I often go to conferences and hear someone sprouting about the latest thing they've been doing and think, gee, we've been doing that at Alfred for about 5 years and we haven't told anyone. So it's up to me now as the chief nurse to really invest in how we sing the praises of the great work that nurses do here at Alfred Health. The landscape has changed since I was a graduate nurse. There was no such thing as an electronic medical record, and much of the care we provided was non-digital, and the world has changed. So we live in an informatics world, and managing our EMR and ensuring that the EMR is working for us and how we deliver care is a critical component of our professional practice framework. And last but by no means least is the workforce. We can't deliver on our professional practice framework and deliver on our patients come first strategy if we don't have a workforce that is engaged, excited about delivering care, and really part of the organisational's key development and progression around how we continue to improve. Workforce, there's no surprise, is a challenge coming out of the pandemic. Not only is there a shortage of healthcare workers, you will all have heard there is a shortage of workers in general in Australia and of healthcare workers internationally. So you guys are absolute gold and critical to how we progress in the future. So how we look after our workforce is high on our list of priorities at Alfred Health. This morning I went to a leadership session with about 100 of the leaders across our health network, and workforce was priority number one for all of us in terms of how do we support, develop and encourage our workforce to, one, come and work with us, but two, stay and develop and become, you know, the true leaders of the future. I'm just going to talk a little bit more about comprehensive care. It's a big concept, and sometimes people struggle to really think about, well, what is that actually? And it's pretty simple. We've provided a framework. It's every patient, every time. And it starts with the patient in the centre of everything we do. I keep coming back to that because it's so important. And there's a process around how we deliver care, and you can start anywhere, but let's start with the plan of care. So we want and encourage our staff to work with patients to plan the care that is critical and pertinent to that patient, meets the needs of the patient and the expectations of what we're trying to achieve. We deliver that care and we evaluate the care we deliver. Did what we do today, is that going to be the right care that we deliver tomorrow? Is what we're doing working, or do we need to make some adjustments? How do we feed that back into the interdisciplinary team and support the ongoing development of the care plan? We know that when we transition care into the hands of others, that patients are most at risk. Handover is critical in terms of ensuring that when you hand over care, the person who is taking on that care is fully equipped with the knowledge and understanding of where the plan is at. So handover can be many things. It can be handover at the end of the shift. It can be handover when you're going on a break. It can be handing over as the person transitions to another area in the health service, or it can be handing over to another healthcare team altogether. So many opportunities for us to ensure that the ongoing care of the patient is safe. And patient assessment and risk screening is critical and pertinent. And you could start with assessment. I mean, you need to assess before you plan, obviously, but this is a continual cycle. We always are looking to what's working, what's not working, and what do we need to adjust. So we call this our every patient, every time plan of care and nursing practice framework. And I guess if you do decide to become part of Alfred Health, you will be a key part of our team. We aspire to be the safest hospital in Australia, and we deliver care to some of the sickest patients in Australia, particularly in Victoria, and we deliver care across a huge range of statewide services. So if you come to Alfred Health, you will see the most critical, the sickest, and probably the best care that you will see in Victoria. So I wish you all the best, and I think choosing Alfred Health is a choice that you will never regret. I started here in my training way back, I won't tell you when, and I've left and been drawn back to Alfred Health because of how amazing the health service is. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks very much, Kesley. That was really informative and really helpful for all the audience to hear. So I'm just going to click on my screen and hopefully things will move forward. So we should all be whizzes at this technology, but I always get a tiny glitch as we're starting. So I'll just click on the screen again. There we go. Thanks. Okay, so as I said, I actually coordinate the general graduate program, and my colleague Shana McCormick actually coordinates the mental health and addiction program. So there's two programs here. I know other hospitals vary that, but we have the general and the mental health. As you can see, the general program is considerably larger. Next year, we're looking to have 220 or greater number of positions. As you've just heard Kathleen share, there's obviously a shortage everywhere, so we're trying to make sure that we've got grads in, but that we are actually supporting them and that we keep building on the information that you've been learning to date, and that we can help develop your future with us as part of the team. There's 10 to 20 mental health and addiction positions. So Alfred Health actually has 3 campuses, which some of you, or all of you, I hope, are aware, but if not, we have the main campus here up at Alfred, which is where we're telecasting from at the moment. Obviously, you can see there the picture, which actually has the helipad because of the trauma resources that are required. We also have Caulfield, which is down on the left-hand side of the screen. So I'll be going through each of these, but that's one of our community hospitals. And then we've got Sandringham, which is down at Bayside. But I'm going to share a little bit about each of the campuses. But the main point that I wanted to highlight is that when you're applying for Alfred Health, it's any of these campuses. And so we do have grads rotate between campuses. The majority are up here at the main campus, but probably about a quarter do actually move over to the other campuses. But the key thing that we've made sure is that if you're here or at Sandringham or Caulfield, then you'll actually make sure that those at Caulfield come up to the main campus, same as Sandringham, and some of the guys that start here will go down to either campus as well. So the Alfred itself is one of Melbourne's largest teaching hospitals, and obviously we've got supports here for undergrad or pre-registration, postgrad, and that's for all disciplines. It's for medicine, nursing and allied health, because the key thing that we're wanting to do, and what Kathleen's just highlighted, is that we're working collaboratively together. We're here as a team so that we can provide the best care for our patients, so that's the essence of what we're all here for, but it's important that we've all got those roles, but we're working collaboratively so we can provide the best care that's there. It's a 400-bed hospital, and again, as we've said, it actually provides a lot of specialist medical and surgical services. We actually have 28 statewide services. So you may be aware that there's trauma, there's burns, there's cancer, just to name a few, and cancer's expanding as we're moving forward as well, and certainly looking at different aspects of care for those patients in the future. So again, this is something that people can be part of. So it's handy to be aware that we are we're a dynamic hospital. We're moving forward, providing the best services to all of our patients, and they may actually come from interstate or in Victoria itself, but it's certainly something that we're very, very proud of. I've just got photos throughout the presentation as well, so again you can get a few more glimpses of some of the clinical areas in Alfred Health, but again this is just showing you part of the EMR, the electronic medical record, which is in most hospitals across Australia, and that's something that we've all had to learn and adapt to, and usually you guys adapt to it a lot quicker than somebody my vintage because you're very good with technology, but it's just to show you some photos. Again, this is just a list of some of the wards that we have here. I actually have them up on the website. It's so that you can see the specialist services that are provided, and this is at the Alfred itself. The reason why I've put it up here is that when you're actually applying online, and I'll be going through the application process, we've asked you to actually pick 3 preferences so that then you will be able to get a choice of, or to match with one of your choices. In the end, it's that staff will either be going to a medical area, a surgical area or a specialist, and you'll get 2 of the 3, but there's a variety of different wards that actually provide those services. Some of you may have worked here during your pre-registration time and others may not, but that doesn't matter. We're actually here to bring everything together and support you as you're moving through your graduate program. So at Caulfield, which is just up the road, that's actually providing subacute and specialist rehabilitation areas, and we also have the acquired brain injury unit. So the key thing to be aware of is that, especially for trauma or neurosurgery or those with illness patterns that obviously can't go home after a week or 2, they may end up needing to be transferred over to Caulfield, who provide the excellent rehabilitation services, because some patient may be here for a month, some it may be several months, for some it can actually be nearly up to a year. So they need the specialist care, which is ongoing after their acute event, and for some it may be a life-changing pattern or change to their how they've been pre-coming into hospital, and others that we're obviously making sure that they're getting back to the best functionality that they have to be able to go home and go back to work. At Sandringham, which is obviously down at Bayside, that's again, it's a lovely community hospital. They've actually got surgical and medical areas, and we have the grads situated down there, and they always love working within that cohesive team. There is also the operating suite. There's one down at Sandringham, and we have 2 theatre suites up here, one which is in the mains theatre and the other one which is what we call Alfred Centre, because that's where a lot of our elective surgery is done. So there's 3 in total within Alfred Health Services. Down at Sandringham, we also have an emergency department. The Emergency and Trauma Centre is also up at Alfred. We know that that's a popular area for applicants wanting to come in, but we only have small numbers of graduates that can actually go there throughout their graduate program. But the key thing that I'll echo is that throughout the program and afterwards, we're actually making sure that anyone that's on any of the wards here, which are very acute services in any of the campuses, that's helping to provide the essence of what they can learn throughout the program or afterwards. But ED, ICU, given that's my background, they're there all the time, and it's something that you can aspire to move into, but we've got a lot of specialist services, and what we find is that the grads go, I didn't realise this, we've got respiratory or renal, and then they actually decide to follow different pathways as they are awakened as to the different services that we provide. The general structure of the graduate program is that we have 3 intakes. This year we've had Jan, March and July, and that should be the pattern for the next year. The key thing is that you're employed part-time, which is 4 days a week, and you're employed under a 12-month contract. The 4 days a week was introduced a very long time ago now. It was actually over 10 years ago, and we found that that gives better work-life balance to our graduates as they're assimilating into being part of a team. And obviously it's that the growth and that's happening, rather than as an undergraduate student that you're moving every few weeks. It takes a little while to get used to adapting into that new role, and that's our goal, to help support with that transition, not only in the first few weeks but the whole 52 weeks and beyond. We provide a comprehensive orientation, and our goal is also to have supernumerary time with our preceptors, especially over the first week that we have in place. We've introduced 2 6-month rotations for all graduates. That was feedback that we heard from our past graduates, and so especially again we've learnt a lot of different ways of working through COVID, and the graduates did move a lot through that and actually enjoyed going to different areas to be challenged and working with the different cultures, and so that was something that we've introduced this year for all our graduates. So it is a structured program that's obviously continuing over the 12 months, and our goal is that as you're moving through that program, that we're constantly developing and challenging you, while supporting you through all our preceptors, our ward staff and our clinical support nurses. So the other thing that we introduced through COVID was actually a team-based model, so that then you're actually working with your colleagues, and that there's support for the patients, and that's including both our nursing, medical care and allied health care, so that we've got the patient's care met. There are specific study days for our graduates which are spread out over the year. It's 3, and the other thing that we do to complement that is actually have weekly tutorials. They are virtual in nature, so that we can link up the campuses. The other guys will come up from the other 2 campuses for the study days up here with the resources that we have. The big thing that we're also echoing is that there's ongoing employment opportunities and career development after successful completion of the graduate program. I will elaborate as I go through a couple of more slides, but the key thing is you're investing in us for the 12 months, we're investing in you. It's not just for this 12 months, we're hoping that you'll be joining us as a team going forward and to continue, and this will just be the start of your career within Alfred Health nursing team. As I was saying, the clinical support is one thing that we pride ourselves on. It's essential to the success of the program. This is a busy organisation, as we've said, so the orientation we provide, the time with your preceptor, working within a teams-based nursing model, so that then we can make sure that it doesn't matter what shift you're on, what day of the week, there is always support for you. And there's a list of a lot of the different roles that will be working with you over the course of the year, and obviously within the individual wards that you'll be working on, and you'll get to meet with them and you'll develop lifelong friends as you actually get to know them a lot better. I've actually put this up, but it's also on the Computer Match website, and there's a link on our external website page, because this is an excellent guide to actually help you with any of the requirements that you have navigating applying for a graduate program. So you've got the university providing information. You're obviously going to be attending different webinars or different events, the website that we've got here at Alfred Health as well, and then with the resources that are also on the Computer Match website, because there's a lot of information on there, and I just wanted to highlight this to you because it's really, really helpful. And if you actually get a chance to have a look at it, it will help you with what your needs are. But please just ask and get other staff to help you with staff or friends and family that you've got that can help, but it's an excellent resource for you. Again, just showing some of our staff caring for patients. So the application process at Alfred Health, the two main key things that you're actually needing to be aware of is that you must register with the Computer Match, which is the Postgraduate Medical Council Victoria, and that's they've renamed themselves to Add-on Allocations and Placement Service. So you must be eligible to get a Computer Match number, because it's one of the prerequisites when you're actually putting your application into Alfred Health. So basically you're applying on Computer Match first, and then you're putting in your preferences, which is up to 4, and then you're actually applying to the individual organisations. In this case, it's Alfred Health. So we've already updated all of our information with our position description for our graduate role. And as I was just saying there, you need to apply either to the online general application form, or the converse to that is the mental health and addiction form. So the resources for both are actually readily available up on our website. You just choose whichever window is appropriate for you. But the key thing is that times come around very quickly. So next Monday, applications open, and then just 4 weeks later, they actually close on July 8th. And the link that you've got in tonight is actually where the link will be next Monday. So you just click on that, and that will enable you to apply online. The one thing that I will recommend is that basically don't leave it till the last minute. You've got a 4-week time frame, so try to make sure that you can get everything in place to upload, and that's what I'm going to go through. But just start early, get everything that you need in the background before you actually go to seeing what you need for your online application. So as I was saying, there's an independent link for the general program versus the mental health and addiction program. They're very clearly set out on there, so you know which one that you're actually selecting. The resources that we're needing is that we want you to upload a recent academic transcript or record, and that's including your grading or your key page, the grading key page, because every university is different. It would be nice if they're all the same, but they're not. Some have online tools, some have different tools that are downloaded, and some of them can be up to 50 or 60 pages. So I'm just asking that when you do upload your clinical appraisals, that they're the most recent ones, and that you're just condensing them down to the formative and summative pages and the grading page that you actually have on that, because it just makes it easier for us when we're reviewing them. As you'd expect, you need to put in your cover letter and curriculum vitae. So you'll also be nominating 2 referees on the Computer Match website, and we actually can access those because that's what we're looking for when we're actually going through all part of that. So the key thing that I'm just trying to, I guess, illustrate for all of you is that we're looking at how you've gone within your university in terms of your academic progress, how you've gone clinically when you've come out on placements. I know there's been a few challenges for everyone through COVID, that some of the placements have been delayed or when people have been unwell. So please just see that you can complete those, or if you haven't up till now, just send your recent ones and then you can let us know in your CV when you're finishing your placements. We do actually ask that information and estimated completion date for the actual pre-registration program that you're undertaking. So certainly we know everything's using technology. When you do successfully upload all the information that you need, then you'll have a receipt of successful completion of that. If you're having any difficulties, then we've got support staff as well to help with that. And as we proceed, and I'll go through the next step, but when we get up to shortlisting for interview, you'll also be informed of that process as well. So through COVID, last year we the last 2 years we've actually done online interviews, and that's going to be the same process for this year. It's using a system that's on the Computer Match website, which is called VidCruiter, and basically the key thing is that you're pre-recording your interview to set questions. And so if you've then selected Alfred Health, then we will actually be downloading those videos to actually review independently for our process there. The key thing that I will suggest to all of you is that have a look on the Computer Match website. They actually have practice questions so that you get used to this system. It is a little bit daunting at first because you're not getting immediate feedback, because it is a non-live situation, exactly what we're doing tonight. So please make sure that you get a chance to practice. I know universities practice with the students beforehand as well. So just avail yourself of all the, I guess, resources to you so that you feel comfortable before you actually complete the process yourself. Again, it's just some of our colleagues so that you can see some of the nursing staff. See at the moment everybody is in masks, but we've been able to take those photos prior to that. The other thing that we want to stress is that there's ongoing developmental opportunities for nurses after the graduate program. So as I mentioned before, and I'll reinforce, we don't want you just to come for 12 months. We actually want this to be the first step in your lifelong career, and that there's different opportunities for you. So I'm just going to share a little bit of that. So one of the things that, as I mentioned before, that we have introduced is rotations to different clinical areas. So we've just found that staff that have moved previously, instead of just for a quarter of the staff, it's for all graduates. And the key thing there is that you're working with different team members, you're experiencing a different patient population, and it's also opening your eyes to actually seeing, well, actually this is another possibility for my career options in the future, but it's something that we've got in place this year. Continuing professional development, as Kathleen mentioned earlier, that just doesn't stop. I've obviously been nursing for quite some time, and the key thing is from where I started to where I'm now, nursing has changed considerably, and that's through the input that we've all had to actually help with those changes and working with all the members of the collaborative team so that we can continue to strive to provide the best possible patient care for everyone. But it's part of our growth. What pathway you wanted to take? Is it education? Is it bedside? Is it looking at research? Is it management? There's so many opportunities, and so there's a lot of things, as Kathleen said, within Alfred, but also that we can support you to attend outside of Alfred at the universities or other avenues, and that we're supporting and helping you to gain the future that you're wanting. We've also introduced a program which is, well, it's a learning journey, because we're trying to make sure that through the first year and beyond, because staff are actually starting here from other organisations, so that we've got, I guess, a common pathway that people are taking to start with, and then that can divert and change whether you're on surgical, medical or specialist services, but that we've got a pathway for all nurses to take, and that can keep you building on as your career is progressing. And that's something that's underway and is being constructed for ongoing development as well. As Kathleen mentioned earlier as well, we've got a strong leadership and management program, which is coordinated by one of my colleagues. And again, it's very much then staff who are becoming associate nurse managers, different roles that have leadership components, that we're preparing all staff so that then they're getting the support, the education and the development to step into those roles at the beginning and ongoing, because it doesn't change. You keep developing as you progress further into your career. And we also had studies, postgraduate studies affiliated with universities. We've got our university partners, which are La Trobe, Monash and Deakin, but we've also got affiliations with other associations as well, so that we can make sure that people have access to any pathway where possible, so that we can aid them with their ongoing development. So usually about, this is ongoing after that, but certainly graduates get the opportunity to select usually about 12 weeks before. I work closely with the workforce team, and that we can see where they are wanting to go, either returning to their first rotation, staying in their second, or even looking at a different area. And having that movement, having the different education and development opportunities gives them confidence to do that. So what I'm going to do now is actually send you over to our nursing panel, who are waiting patiently in one of their other rooms, and they're going to share both their experience as graduates or supporting graduates. So passing over to you guys now.
Hi everyone, my name is Jose. I'm one of the clinical support nurses here in the Alfred Health. I'm joined in the panel by Antoinette, Erin, and Simone. Let me start off by asking Simone, which one do you work on and which patients do you have?
Okay. Hi, my name is Simone. I'm currently living on 16th day here in Sydney. I started my graduate year in January of 2021, so I finished up this year. Our typical patients that we see on 16th are brain tumours, brain bleeds, aneurysms, spinal injuries, and any multiple traumas involving a head injury.
Thanks, Simone. And for you, Erin, what's the
Thanks, Renee. Hi everyone, my name is Erin. I recently finished my graduate year in January of this year. I'm currently working on Six West, which is specialised to burn, plastic and nose and throat. Our typical patient groups are minor and complex burns. We have reconstructive replantation surgery as well as major head injury.
Thanks, Erin. And which among those experiences do we have that these patients?
I think it's hard to pinpoint one experience. However, working with an ICU burns patient was definitely really exciting and allowed me to grow with my nursing acquired skills. I think I found that working with these patients, being so acutely unwell and being able to develop those therapeutic relationships with patients as well as their families was really rewarding.
Thanks for sharing. And for you, Simone, what's your most memorable experience?
I think it's pretty hard to kind of summarise my most memorable moment in one moment in particular. We have a lot of long-stay patients on the 16th with sustained traumatic brain injury, so they kind of become like our family. So to see them going through another brain exams or talking to you and giving you a thumbs up or a smile, it's really quite rewarding. I think it's impacted my practice a lot. It's made me more an empathetic, well-rounded nurse, and it really helps the cohesion of the team that you do work with, that you rely on each other quite a lot.
Right. Yeah, of support you can share to us what's happening.
Sure. There is an endless amount of support available throughout your graduate year. You've got your clinical support development nurses, you've got your nurse student managers, you've got your support nurses, the The doors are always open to the manager's and educator's office. They're there to help you from checking medications to doing procedures that you've not done before, really anything you have questions about. You're never alone. I would say also the most important resource available to you is actually your colleagues on the board for an invaluable wealth of help wherever needed.
Great to hear, Simone. And for you, Erin, West.
Yeah, as Simone has expressed to you guys, the support at the Alfred is truly amazing. Your support, clinical support, nurses, your graduate team, everywhere to your nurse in charge, your nurse unit manager,